evening. Thank you for joining us on this week's Football Manager Weekly FM show. It is the 24th of December and we are recording this ready for Christmas Day. I do apologise, but we didn't want to come live on Christmas Day because we have lives. Tonight we have FoxintheboxFM live with us tonight, so thanks for joining us, pal.
Thank you for having me, and hello to everybody out there.
As you'll see in the background, if you haven't subscribed already, go on the YouTube and find him. Fantastic YouTube, and in the last few days he's actually done something very creative, which I want to bring up first. He's decided what he wants to do is a show based on FM and FIFA. So yes. Do you want to explain your actions?
Well, I come from the angle of FIFA really, and I delved into a little bit of YouTube on FIFA before, but never really enjoyed it that much. But I did a lot of graphic work for YouTubers in the FIFA community and kind of stayed in there. And when I came across the Football Manager, which has always been kind of my first game, but I never really found the community, to be honest, in FM. So I kind of like a solo player and did on my own almost. But since I found the community, I decided to merge the two, because I know that a lot of FM players like FIFA, a lot of FIFA players like FM, and if they don't, just kind of expose each one to. But the general idea of it is the game, I believe, is based on Football Manager and its match engine and playing the game in the season and trying to survive ultimately against a board that is kind of evenly but more stacked against me. And the board is based around the pack side of FIFA. So I wanted a way of like randomising all the players, so it was a viewer's choice but also a random choice. I kind of don't have much choice other than what the pack of 7 players is giving me. And that pack can be a variety of from FIFA 10 packs all the way through to FIFA 15 packs, which it's so random. And I could pull people that are coaches right now, and I could pull people that are retired. But that's the whole thing. It's kind of brightening up the Football Manager side of things by making it randomised and a bit more fun. Because I do find that there's some great content creators of Football Manager on YouTube, but I think sometimes we can be a bit of a dull community. So I was trying to kind of expand it to somewhere else and take kind of FM where it hasn't been before, and I think I've achieved that. The responses have been very good, and we continue to work with it. There's been an episode out today which has done really well considering it's Christmas Eve, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. So.
Yeah, it's definitely been something interesting. When I first saw it, I did just think, how can someone mix FIFA and FM? I don't want to give too much away because I want people to go on and watch it and actually find out what it is. But what we can say is it's called FM/FIFA Monopoly, and there is a Monopoly board. That interests people enough. I mean, go out, check it out. Ryan, what do you want to talk about first before we go back later on in the show to discuss Fox in the Box more?
Well, I'm going to bring up a comment that Fox in the Box said to me earlier about inside forwards overlapping. I forgot what CWBs are. Complete wing backs that are godly, but now I can understand it. When Ben says tactically, if anyone who knows who Ben is, our tactical admin on FM Central, is that inside forwards, I assume you're set on to stay inside, and you'll have your complete wing back just controlling the wing, so I can see why it's godly, but I assume you're using it on one of your saves?
The inside forward actually plays an attack, so I think the description of an inside forward on Football Manager is drive at the heart of a defence, but they get stuck in cul-de-sacs. So given the option of a wide player, they don't always pass back into where problems are. They can play onto the outside, and you've got that overlapping wing back. And in fact, there's an episode coming up of the youth group pretty soon, which shows my left back, who's actually predominantly a right back, but my left back doing exactly that. And I just think they're absolutely godly. And I think people are reluctant to play wing backs on attack. I think it scares them. But give it a go. I mean, it's different.
Yeah, I agree with that. You see a lot on our Facebook group. A lot of people posting, and when they post in tactics, a lot of people straight away tell people, "Oh, take the attack off your fullback, or take the attack off your wing back. You're getting too attacking." But as you say, an inside forward based with the attacking mentality, he's always going to be almost forming a 3 up front. So quite a lot of the time, if you're attacking, they might cut inside to receive the ball, not be out wide to receive it. The idea of having the inside forward is when you do not have the ball, you're forming the 4-4-2 or the 4-5-1, but when you have the ball, you're forming the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-4 formation. So the idea of having your wing backs bombing on past them, it's obviously it's going to work, because if your two inside forwards get into the box and then your wing back is then overlapping and crossing the ball in, you're going to end up having 3 or 4 people in the box.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's definitely something that maybe a lot of people don't even look at. I mean, personally, I always play fullbacks, but anyone who's checking out my new series with Magdeburg, you'll see that I'm playing 4-1-4-1, and I always play for the point, as I always tell people. So my idea of a complete wing back, that scares me to the extent where I want to go and curl up in a ball. I just
with that formation with the complete wing backs is. I had a great comment on Twitter the other day where I posted it up and saying, has anyone tried this kind of shape before? It has, I believe, 7 attacking players out of the 11, and people were like, oh my god, you have 7 players on attack. How on earth do you stop goals going in? You don't concede many, and that's the quite scary thing. I think the help of the defensive midfielder and the 2 centre-backs, plus, you've got to have determined wing-backs to be a complete wing-back and fit, and they do recover quite quickly despite being on attack.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. Like I say, I mean, also, again, what people need to remember is the idea of having him set to attack. It means that he's going to get forward. It doesn't mean when the opposition has the ball, that doesn't mean he's going to stand up by the halfway line or on the edge of the opposition's box. He's still going to get back and do his defensive work.
I think that's the fine tweak. Though we're calling it a complete wing back, and in people's minds, he will be sat in the wing back role, which is just that one step further ahead of a left or right back.
Yeah.
But I don't do that though. They play in the left and right back roles. However, they are down as complete wing backs on attack. So their natural position, which is also why I play on a fluid mentality, because they know and they can judge when to join and when not to join. If I was to play on a flexible, they'd never go. And if I was to play on very fluid, they would never come back.
I know there's a lot of situations where wing backs can be really effective. I know before Louis van Gaal came to Man United, I'd created on FM14 basically the same type of formation he tried to play with the 3 centre backs. And I created with Molde in the Norwegian Premier League, and it worked amazing. I made a tactical post on our website about it. And it was unbelievable how amazing the defensive line was when we weren't in possession of the ball, and how amazing they lined up with the central midfielders to form a line across the pitch. Basically, you can utilise your full-back stroke wing-back so effectively if you just put some time and effort in.
Oh no, you definitely can, but obviously you've got to look at those key stats. Are they determined? Are they team workers? Have they got effective crossing? And ultimately, can they defend as well?
Yes,
they are bound to do both sides of the job, but they have to be very versatile. I mean, the guy I play normally at left wing back, and this sounds crazy, I normally play a left wing back in the Championship, who is down as a kind of a League One player, and you would never do that in the first place. But he's actually natural position as a centre half, and I've retrained him to a left back. Naturally, he's good at defending. He's very fit. We've developed his crossing. You know what? He makes to be a great wing back now, but he can also defend first and foremost because he is predominantly a centre half playing out a wing back.
Yeah, I mean that's actually some really good advice there, which is if you have a centre back who has, in my opinion, any more than 12 pace, to retrain him even as a potential backup on the wing if you're really short in that position as a fullback, sorry, not on the wing. It's always a really good idea because they are so naturally gifted in the centre-back role that you're almost giving yourself an extra defender on the pitch as well as having someone who's got the pace and the ability to offer the wing-back role.
Definitely, and on a similar thing to that, we've had one of the regens that came through was predominantly a left midfielder who could kind of play left wing-back. Again, great going forward, not so great at the defence, but we've had the older boy that is the centre half coached as a left back. We've had him tutoring the boy that was a left midfielder and is now also going to be a left back.
Yeah.
Just because he's tutoring him in the art of defence. So he's got great attacking stats, and he's also going to now gain some great defending stats as well. And that's by utilising 2 players into a position where neither of them actually are natural to it. Both accomplished now, but that's just using the resources that you have, obviously in the youth crew, the ruling is I can't buy or sell. Well, I can sell, but I can't buy any players, free transfers or cash. Okay. So I have to use in-house what I've got.
So yeah, it's a good rule to have as well, and it's definitely going to work with crew. Yeah. Ryan, you're using a tactic at the minute which involves wing backs, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a tactic that I've got wing backs in a position that I've never ever used before. I think it came in on FM14. It's the libero position, which is just behind. It looks like a sweeper role, but technically they're classed as a defensive mid kind of player. It's sort of what, if you watch Bayern Munich play, it's sort of what Xabi Alonso would play. You just whenever a team is attacking you and you're defending, he'll sweep up and kick the ball forward with amazing passing. I'm playing Deli Blind in that role at Man United, and when you're on the attack, the shape of the formation forms a 4-1-4-1 formation. When you look at it on the tactics screen, it's a very weird shape, and I can show everyone on our Facebook group, and I have shown somebody today when they ask for a formation, they say it looks weird, how does it look in the shape? 4-1-4-1, and it is amazing. I didn't concede many goals in the season and won the treble. Second season, Man United.
There you go. See, people who play as Man United can even win a trophy. You should maybe become their manager.
Can try.
What topic are we going with next, Ryan?
We can go with FM obsessions, which is going to be. It's not more obsession with. We all know everyone who plays FM should be obsessed with FM. You should play it every single day, especially if you're on FM Central. But this is more, what do you do when you start your saves? What is the thing you automatically do? But for me, it's always, I have to go and set my tactics. I have to look at the staff. If there's any staff I don't like, they're out the door straight away. And then I'll get my staff and start building in my own vision. So what do you do, Paul? What's your obsessions?
Obsession-wise, I actually thought you meant more like... we were discussing the other night about my issue of when I save my game and stuff.
Yeah, it's things like that. What do you do on your save that you have to do?
What I have to do is I have to win a game before I can knock a Football Manager off. So I sat up before. When I've been playing as some very average teams, I've maybe sat up for an extra hour than I'd planned, just trying to win a match in a really tough league before I could save Football Manager. Because I cannot save Football Manager if I've lost a game, because it's just a jinx I've had since Championship Manager 99. I think I started doing it. I have to save a game before match day. Let's say I've been playing for a couple hours, when I've finished playing, I want to save Football Manager to go and do other things. I have to save it just before match. I have to play a match as soon as I load Football Manager up. For some reason, again, I seem to think it's going to jinx my save if I save it at a random day. I have them random freaky things, but apart from that, everything else is kind of normal. Just when I load FM up, I do what most people do: go and make a cup of tea and then pick my team. What about yourself, Mr. Fox?
Well, I'm going to go against. I'm not go against. I'm going to go the opposite way to what Ryan said, and actually. I've only realised in the last two FMs that going in and changing things quickly doesn't work. It doesn't work for me especially. So I have a little obsession where if I go in, I have to spend at least the first 6 months or so trying to develop what I have before I go in and look at freebies. Maybe a loan or two here, but I definitely don't touch the staff. And that is like a real obsession of me now. And I've started many saves on this FM because I've tried different things and I'm interested in the mechanics of the game. But definitely, I have an obsession with not touching things now, rather than going in and overhauling and trying to impose my philosophy. I just don't think it works. It has to be a gradual thing. So I definitely say that's definitely turned into probably my most recent obsession, which is kind of a weird one, really. But I mean, very similar to you as well. I have to go on a win. You can't go on a draw or a loss. It has to be a good evening and a good lead.
Thing is, I've tried to explain this to people, and I think people genuinely think I'm slightly weird. Because I literally will not save Football Manager until I have won a game. Now, some people misunderstand this and think I save after every game or before every game. What I mean is, if I've been playing, let's say, for example, I play for 3 or 4 hours and I go, right, it's time for bed. I have to win before I save the game. and it's genuinely caused issues between myself, my partner, and child services have gone mental. Come on, it's time to feed the kids. No, wait, I need to win a game. And my girlfriend actually understands this. She's so good that she'll actually understand, and she'll say, right, you need to save Football Manager, and she'll give me like 30 minutes notice. Maybe she just thinks I'm crap at FM and I need like a couple hours notice so I can win a game. But yeah, it's just some really weird things people do. I mean, it's strange. If I'm losing a game with 10 minutes to go, I'll always stand up. I'll never watch the last 10 minutes sat down as well.
Interesting.
It's like I feel if I stand up, the team will listen to me. Normally they don't, but actually we'll discuss this later. But my last 2 saves have been unbelievable for results. But go on, Ryan. We'll go back to you.
I'm going to go on my own session. I'm going to go with what I've read on our Facebook group. I know a few people that will have to play music in the background. They'll either play some of the teams that they're managing. They'll play their famous chant if they're in a final, or they'll play, if they're in the Champions League final, they'll play the Champions League music, which shows that we have some sad people who play FM. But why not? You're in an FM community. Show why you play FM. I think another one. I can agree with what Fox said about changing the staff. But when I took over at United, there was this staff member that he says he was a goalkeeping coach, and his goalkeeping coaching stat was 6. I'm sorry, you're not a goalkeeping coach. Please leave the club. I'll find somebody else.
Chuck him out.
But then there was another one, fitness staff, who had a fitness coaching rating of 10. I was like, no, I like to have fit players. You're just going to be making them jog. I want them to sprint around and use the weight machines. I want them to be fit, not lazy. So they're gone.
I think the reason why I probably decided to do that is because I guess this isn't kind of taken as an option really, because I think maybe sometimes people don't make the match of it. But some of the players that you have in the squad, they actually have the coaches as their favoured personnel, and I have gone in and removed coaches before, and then had negative kind of performances from the players. And the only thing I can think of into that is, well, have I and I've looked and I've removed one of his favourite personnels at the club, so that's why one thing I always try to look at and think, is it worth removing him for a dodgy stat maybe for a year? Will I build up my reputation with this player? So obviously he has a good reputation, a very good foundation with him, so he's going to train well for him. For instance, if it's a tactics coach who isn't great at delivering tactics, but he has the respect of the team, is that more important than a really high stat where they don't respect him? I don't know. It's an interesting topic, I think, to talk about at maybe a different time.
That's a good shout out, Ryan, actually. Do you know what? I've never actually thought about that, because, I mean, even with Magdeburg, my coaching staff now, I can only get 3 in, as well as and then a couple of scouts, but they are all of really good, even close to Bundesliga standard, because I advertised for them in the job centre. But I've never thought I went in, I just sacked a couple of them straight away because they were just crap. I've never thought, I wonder if it upsets my team. It's definitely something to think of. Do you? Maybe if it's a star player.
Work on, and I think it does. Like you say, cohesion and people that get on with each other is far more important maybe than the delivery sometimes. It's kind of like bringing in the unknown coach or bringing in the ex-pro. You know what I mean? It's people are going to respond better to the ex-pro despite maybe his stats being a little bit lesser.
That's what I've thought that, especially when you get the message saying, for example, Paul has surrounded himself with past internationals.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest response I've had from the coaching staff, and this is going to sound so funny, but the biggest response I've had from the coaching staff on my crusade, which obviously is a really important one because I need the kids to come through and I need them to respond well at training, is Danny Murphy coming back to the club, who obviously is an ex-crew legend.
Yeah.
His stats are horrific, but coming back, I think definitely is going to make a big difference. And ex-pro Peter Crouch, what a coach he actually is. And he has the respect of the players being an ex-international and so on. I don't think they really take into consideration he's 19 feet tall and rather ugly. but they definitely take into consideration he was an ex-pro who scored an absolute ton of goals for England in very few appearances as well.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? I think sometimes when it comes to the coaching side of things, maybe swinging towards the ones that they enjoy or the ones they get on with, they'll certainly train better despite maybe the session not being as good as another coach would deliver. But then the coach with the better stats, I say, they might not enjoy him, so they might not train as well.
I think, yeah, I mean, do you know what, I don't know about yourself, Ryan, but I've never looked at it in that side of it as much.
I've looked at it, but not as in detail as Fox has just described there, but it shows how realistic FM is, and you've got to get the balance between getting the right coaches, but then getting the players liking the coaches as well. So,
personnel is a massive thing and definitely overlooked all the time. All the time.
It shows that psychological aspects like team cohesion, which it's been in FM for a long time, whether people take notice of it and actually use it in training is a totally different matter, and it's something that I think me and Ben we're going to bring it up in our training post. It's going to go on the FM Central website at some point.
Yeah,
whenever we get it sorted.
Yeah, that we have got a really, really detailed post coming out, which is gonna, I don't want to say shut up, but it's gonna prove a point to thousands of people who have messaged Sports Interactive, have tweeted Miles, complaining about the injuries in Football Manager, etc. Ryan and Ben have put in a very detailed post with lots of research, which is going to answer all the questions people have had, which is going to be on footballmanagercentral.com. So anyone who listens, stay tuned for that. I have been giving them the kick up the arse for 2 weeks now, so the post is nearly done. So we are looking forward to that. Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to quickly say thank you, because we reached a milestone in the last couple of days. Mr. Fox won't even know this. I don't think he's in our group on Facebook.
I am. I'm down with my actually,
he is Solihull.
My Solihull Moors boys team. Yeah, because I don't have Facebook. But while you were talking about injuries there and shutting a few people up, I completely agree with you. I do think at times we all think the same at times that, oh my god, all these injuries. But you know what? I have a boys team that are under 18s. I think it's quite well known. They play for Solihull Moors. We have physios, so our that within our team, and we have all the things in the world. We train at the main ground, and really we should avoid injuries. But though with a squad of 23 players during the last month and a bit, we've been rolling up with about 14 due to injuries. So you're talking about 9 injured, and that's an under 18s team, and it makes you kind of think, actually, no, maybe FM isn't so out there. And you've got to look at the kind of stats on what's that website called? Is it Physio Room?
Yeah.
And my God, you see that I don't think FM does exaggerate at all, but 90% of people will say it does.
But you just need to look at Man United to look at how training can affect injuries and fitness.
Exactly.
That's the issue. A lot of people, they manage the team, they get 4 or 5 injuries, and they just think, oh, it's messed up, and they post about it, and you just think, please assess it.
Well, there's things. There's things where you can connect in the game. There is what's your training ground facilities rated at? Are they good? Are they poor? Whatever. A big thing I've noticed, and this is another thing I've tried. I'm sad like this. This is another thing I've trialed, is playing on a poor pitch to playing on a superb pitch. And I tended to find that I had more injuries.
Oh, someone just died.
I'll repeat that just for in case. I tended to find that I had more injuries playing on a poor and cut-up pitch than you would playing on a pristine, perfect pitch, which is obviously logical.
Yeah.
But even then, that reflects as well. Like the crew say, in the first year we had a poor pitch. I have more injuries than the second year because the second year we relayed it.
Oh, there you go. See?
Again.
And another bit of information there. Just check the pitch, check your training facilities.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to go more into detail on the week. The week this post comes out on our show, we're going to definitely look into injuries a lot more.
That'll be an interesting piece, definitely.
Ryan, do you want to... Oh yeah, what I was going to say was we've just reached 2,500 people on the group. I just want to thank everybody who's a member on the group. It's really appreciated. Go on, Ryan.
Next topic, it's going to be interesting. We'll see each of our manager philosophies or your coaching philosophies for FM.
We'll go with the Fox first.
Ooh, so my coaching philosophy, is that how I expect my team to play or how I expect to build a squad and them to kind of get on?
I would say how you expect your team to play. Like Louis van Gaal, what he expects is philosophy, as he always brings up.
Interesting. Real life, probably the more tick-attacker game. However, moving to 18s, you do notice that you have some big bruisers that just want to kick you, so you have to adapt. But coming into an FM type of thing, I guess you know what? It's down to the team and the players that you have. There's no good me going into I don't know. Let's use a yard out, say Salford City. There's no point me going to Salford City and producing the same tactic that I play at Crewe, because it just wouldn't work. So I think every new save is a new formation. Effectively, it might be the same formation, but it will be different mechanics within it to suit the players that you've got. And I think that's a big key thing where a lot of FM players get it wrong, is they try and download formations and put someone else's philosophy into their team or someone else's winning formation into their team that maybe doesn't suit it. So definitely it can differ. I'm not going to say I have a preference. I'm going to say that I will play to what I believe the strength of the team is that I'm currently in charge of. So I think probably a bit of a mixture. I prefer the tick-attacker game, obviously, to the long ball game, but if it's winning games and that's what it's about, then you've got to play long ball.
Fantastic. I think to follow on from the you can't download a tactic, a lot of people messaged me in the last week or two since I did the player instructions post on the website, saying a couple of people have said the tactic is amazing and a couple of people said the tactic doesn't work. It wasn't a tactic post, so people who listen to this, if you message me, this chance for me to explain without only 140 characters that Twitter's offered me. I made that just to explain to people how important I personally feel player instructions are. It wasn't me explaining how to set up a tactic and then for you to go away and try it. It was a post explaining how important player instructions in the world of Football Manager are. But myself, my philosophy is always the same. I preach this to everybody, which is play for the point and then play for the win. No matter what team I am, I will always set up my team to make sure I do not concede a goal. And then after 60 minutes, I will then look to exploit and get the victory. People who've been following me, they know before my save in Austria totally messed up due to the database. I'd gone the whole season with only one defeat. And in my Magdeburg save, I'm just trying to think. I released episode 2 today, so I don't want to give much away. I have played half the season and I'm unbeaten, so I'm always making sure I don't lose games first. Then I make sure after that I'll go and get the win. If I can't score in the last 30 minutes, then I will address and find out why I can't score. But if I don't concede a goal, as far as I'm concerned, I've had a good game. Ryan?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I like the tick-attack game, but at Man United you can play that because you've got the players, they can pass the ball. But on my other save, which I'm hoping people are still following, I'm trying to get back to it and get the motivation to get back to that save where I started at Coventry and I'm now at Colvia in Portugal in the Segunda Liga after just getting them promoted. You can't play this tick-attack football in the lower league because the players just don't have the stat. But my philosophy there is exactly the same as Paul. If I can go out and get a point after just getting promoted and get a few points on the board, get the motivation of the players up, then I've got some points on the board. I can build from that, and from there I just try and build a team that can try and win games, try and keep a tactic simple. I've tried Paul's 4-4-2 in Portugal, which it works sometimes it doesn't, but obviously as I've just been promoted there's going to be teams that are a lot better than me and they're shipping in 5-6 goals against me, which is never fun to watch. It's never fun to lose 5 or 6-0, but if you can build a tactic, build your own philosophy, you've got to take into consideration which division you're in and your player attributes. And it's something to think about, but keep the game simple when you're in the lower divisions for me. in the higher divisions, when you've got the better players, try and play a game that's more sexy to watch.
Fantastic. Where are we going next then after that?
We have our future plans for what's coming up on the website. We've just said about the training post. What's coming up on YouTube for you, Paul? You mainly control the YouTube side now.
Brilliant. Did you? It's always nice when I get surprise questions. Was this on the list?
It was on the list.
Damn it.
Shows that Paul doesn't read what I send him.
No, sometimes coming up on YouTube. Basically, as many people know, we've cracked Facebook. We've got 2,500. Our website's getting more and more views per day. So we've moved on to YouTube. As our name says, FM Central. We want to be the centre of Football Manager. So trying to crack YouTube, it's definitely a challenge. Somebody's asked me to do a save where I'm live streaming every single game, which I'm looking into. I was just discussing off air with these lads about finding a team where I can do that, and maybe just stream 2 matches a night, upload it maybe the following morning, etc. And just play throughout the year doing that. We've also got our weekly football show every Monday night. Obviously it's a sensitive show. If you don't like bad language, don't listen, because I unload on that. We have our weekly FM show, which we are currently on, which is on a Thursday night. We have my Magdeburg save, and we also have our help guides teaching you how to download databases, how to do your skins, etc. So YouTube is certainly busy. Coming up on the website, we're going to be totally redesigning the website in January. There's a surprise for Ryan.
You told me that earlier.
Oh, whatever. I've been looking into ways of completely revamping the website just to make it easier for people to navigate around, make it look a bit nicer. So stay tuned for that, as well as obviously some really interesting posts coming out. We're going to be evaluating tactics in general a lot more over January, and just basically trying to help our listeners and help our members learn more about Football Manager, give them some of our knowledge. Just try to pass on. At no point do we claim to be experts. I don't think anybody's an expert in Football Manager. But after playing for 17 years, I like to think I know a couple of things which I can help maybe some new players in Football Manager with. But yeah, I think it's a good time if Mr. Fox tells us what's coming up on his YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. It's kind of the same too, really. I'm running with the youth crew at the moment, which, as you all know, it is an intake thing only. No buying, no freebies, nothing like that. Only loans off Liverpool was the other accepted thing, as they are our parent club. However, it only occurred to me in the last couple of seconds that if I get promoted, which I may actually do if you follow the series, we are very, very, very close to second and first. We are currently sat third on the series. But obviously there's a little bit further offline than there is actually on the YouTube at the moment, but that's upcoming and you'll see it's fantastic. But if we get promoted, we'll actually lose that connection, which is quite interesting. So I don't know what I do there, because you can't obviously have a parent and parent club in the same league as you.
Are you allowed to request a new one? Is that in the rules? Or?
No, that's something I'll put to the viewers, definitely. But unless I can still attain, I think I've had a very good relationship with Liverpool. We've had like 6 or 7 players on loan from them, and they've all done exceptionally well. The one that's jumping out to me right now at the moment is Harry Wilson, who's in his 2.5 year on loan with us. And my God, the kid is an absolute boss. He will go back there and hopefully push for a first team place. We're at 19. He's already got 7 or 8 Wales caps, and that's for playing through us. He came to us originally, he had no caps. And we definitely developed him very, very, very well. So I think the relationship with Liverpool, who bizarrely are doing very well, and I think Brendan Rodgers is doing very well, and is winning leagues, or by all accounts.
Makes a change.
It's unrealistic.
So yeah, I mean, Brendan Rodgers is absolutely killing it in that save. So that one's going to continue to run. Obviously, the Monopoly thing will run as well. But what I'm doing now, and I think most people probably have worked it out, is I'm alternating them day by day. So one day it's Monopoly FC or Management Monopoly or Football Fusion. It's got quite a few names. The next one is the Youth Crew and so on. Though we still throw a few curveballs in there, and there's a couple of things coming up which people will be interested in. We've recorded something today with, I've mentioned his name already, a Yard Out, who's a fantastic blogger. Like you guys do a great website as well. And it's just about talking about building understanding and respect between you and your players, really. And we ramble on for a good hour. I'm sure I'll probably bore most people by the end of it, but I definitely learned just from talking to him, like I learned from listening and talking to you guys all the time. So those kind of things will get thrown in. But yeah, that's the two saves. That's the two saves that are running, and I think the what if comes in every now and again, where I go and do stupid things like making Messi 9 foot and making Ronaldo 3 foot, or giving Balotelli stats to see if he actually cares. It turned out that he still doesn't care. So no, just things like that really, and just to see what experiments I can throw in next. And I think I did have an idea for the next experiment, but I can't remember what it was, if I'm honest. I did write it down somewhere, but I seem to have forgotten. But yeah, that's generally it really. I mean, it can be anything. Just watch this space. Twitch is coming very soon as well. Just need to make sure my internet is better than the speed of a potato. At the minute it is that, but fibre optic is in the road next to us. So fingers crossed, in next year it will be an our road as well.
Fantastic. I know I as FM Central looked into doing Twitch every night, and I don't know, it just kind of didn't interest me as much as doing YouTube stuff. So maybe one day FM Central will move on to Twitch, but at the minute, no, I'd rather do YouTube because I like to have a record, and obviously Twitch loses whatever you record, it disappears after 14 days or something. It would have to be
a different save that I ran with on there. I certainly wouldn't run the youth. Well, I technically could run the youth crew on there if I'm honest, because the way the youth crew is set is I play every game of the month, and then don't play the final game of the month. That's where the YouTube comes in, because the live the last game of every month is a live com.
Okay.
Coupled in with the Foxy's Man on Fire, who is the player that has performed excellently during that month. So I technically still could do it, but I'd have to obviously on stream cut it at that point, because I probably couldn't record on live. But I could then the next day play that month on stream again. But it'll be a little bit awkward. But I could certainly run my unemployment save on there, which has come to a halt at the moment because the other two series have taken off.
Yeah.
Unemployment save was going exceptionally well. Very difficult starting as a Sunday League manager. We worked our way into Championship with Sheffield United, starting with Home United in the Singaporean League, which I must say, if anyone is listening and has ever touched the Singaporean League, go and do it. It is the best league in the world. 8-4s, 16-3s, the scores were just ridiculous. And that was after the patch to fix the scores as well. The same with the Polska League as we moved on. That was a bit of a weird league as well. But yeah, so I probably could stream that, but definitely something that I will look into in the future.
Fantastic. So stay tuned. The Fox is going on Twitch, hopefully.
Definitely.
I think next, Ryan, shall I suggest an idea by putting across the rules of my current save?
Yeah.
As my phone is going mental, you would actually think I had a friend. Currently, as people know, I'm doing Magdeburg. People who don't know, it's a German team based in the 4th level of German football. The database was done by myself. It's on our website to download. They won the Cup Winners' Cup, which is basically Europa League. They won it in 1973-74, but then once Germany joined together, they basically fell. Didn't do anything. They'd won the East German title 3 times. So I've decided I wanted to. It's kind of a fallen giant save, but it's also, as you'll find on Sports Interactive Forum, it's a low league management save where you have to do it as realistic as possible. So I have some very simple rules where I can never use the search option for players. I have to get it recommended from my scout. I have to get recommended by an agent. So at no time can I go onto the search bar and just search for transfer list of players or anything. So I've missed out on quite a few players in July, no doubt, because I've just finished my first season. And by the time my scouts got back to me with some players who were out of contract, the options were shocking, which you will see. Also, the attribute masking's on, so obviously I do, even if my scouts recommend people, there was a couple of people they recommended where there was only 1 or 2 stats visible. And you then have to send them away for a month to scout the person, and 1 month later they come back and say, right, we finished. Oh, and by the way, this person joined another club during that month. So that's happened 2 times with players who I was quite excited, but I didn't want to risk it on them. I'm trying to think what are the rules. Staff is the same, so I couldn't just go out and find some really good scouts. I had to apply for them in the job centre, and again it took about 3 weeks. So by the time I got some decent scouts in, the transfer window was nearly shut. I'm trying to think anything else. I had to start with a reputation suitable to the league, so I've gone for the same reputation as most of the coaches, etc., which was National C licence and semi-professional, which I was a semi-professional footballer years ago, so technically that's realistic.
All tactics have to be your own.
Yeah, all tactics have to be my own, but as people know, I create a lot of the tactics on the website anyway, so they are my own. I think that's it. Basically, it's just anything which is classed as an aid on Football Manager I'm not using, and just trying to make it as realistic and as hard as possible, and it's definitely that, because you'll see I'm just about to, when we finished here, I'm going to actually record episode 2 of the second season, and when that goes live you'll see the amount of players I've missed out on compared to the amount I've actually signed due to me not being able to scout them in time. But I think that's it. It's an interesting save, and definitely one I recommend people to try where you do it as realistic as possible. It certainly makes it interesting at times. I don't know if you've tried that, have you, Mr. Fox?
Well, no, I like some of the ideas you put in there, and it's definitely something that I will tuck away in my little box in my head somewhere, and remember the likes of the use of the advertising only, the scout thing only. I do like that option. I think people do rely heavily on the transfer market and doing their own stuff, which is fine, because I think a lot of people believe that doing it themselves is far better and easier than letting other people do it for you. But that's part of the challenge of the game, really.
One thing some people suggested to me, check out this league and check out that league. That's another rule as well. You can't just go to random clubs and select to scout them. To scout players at that club, unless it's physically possible for you to do that. So, for example, I'm in Germany, so I could say to my scout to go and scout one of the clubs in Germany. But at no point would my scout in real life go randomly to scout Sheffield United, for example. So
yeah, you're right.
I don't allow that to happen.
Exactly. And I think that's a good thing, because working at Solihull Moors, I'm there every night. The first team are there as well, because obviously the A teams tie in with that, and the reserve side. And if someone was to turn up, this is even at Solihull Moors level, if someone was to turn up on the doorstep and start watching what was going on at training, it would be certainly be evicted quite quickly.
Yeah.
The whole scouting a big club thing, I think that needs to be removed from Football Manager, if I'm honest. Maybe sending them a cheeky little fax or a text message or an email or whatever you want to do, a message by a pigeon, to ask them about players' availability or something. But certainly scouting the whole club doesn't really right. Maybe they need to change the wording of it.
Yeah, I know. One thing I am allowed to do is go to, for example, the division I'm in. Only the division I'm in, I can go on the stats screen and then scout the person who's the top goal scorer in the league, for example, because that is visible for me because I'm a manager in that league. So in real life, you can view who's the top goal scorer in your league. So that's acceptable. I'm allowed to do that. But what I have found, which I'm going to implement the scouting, etc., in every single save I do now, because I've enjoyed it. You can send your scout to scout for transfer listed players.
Really?
Yeah, and you can send them to scout for players available on loan, which basically means your scout goes to the nations and scouts around the nation as they do just to scout for normal players, but they only come back and say, oh, this person's transfer listed. Now, I know that does happen in real life, because obviously clubs come back and the scouts come back and say, oh, this person's on the transfer list. He only finds that out by going to scout that nation. So,
yeah, of course. There's not. Well, I don't believe so. There might be some sort of network, but I don't believe in football itself there is a transfer list thing where you can just go on somewhere and have a look. I could be wrong, to be honest. There'll be some sort of thing, but not to the depth that it is on Football Manager. But then I guess that's why real life scouts now, and the link up with the company that they had recently, I guess that's why they're using that type of thing, because it is a very real scouting tool, but in terms of the real world, it's slightly different.
Yeah, I think Ryan might know a bit more about this than us, but I think no doubt it's just maybe every agent, and because agents obviously kind of rule football now, maybe they have a list of certain players that they have who are listed, and they maybe just pass that round.
Yeah, I think agents, especially major players, if Ronaldo was transfer listed by Real Madrid, his agent would go, my player's available. It's just because the agent will want a bit of money out of the transfer themselves, so they'll go around different clubs saying, "No, this is the player that I've got listed as one of my players. He's transfer listed. He's available. Do you want to buy him?" That's sort of the way that football works. But you'll also hear news in the press where this player's gone down the pecking order. He'll become available. Clubs will put bid in. It's not, as Football Manager works, it's not a transfer list that you can just go on and see the short list, who's transfer listed, and you'll get a big massive list. It's not that easy in real life. You actually have to find out.
I assume when I'm sending my scouts off to find players who are transfer listed, they just go on to speak to agents. I assume that's how Football Manager gets around that scouting option.
Yeah.
But I've noticed we've rambled on for 46 minutes so far, so we actually passed the normal length of the show. So is there anything else that stands out, Ryan?
No, but we can tell our viewers to check out our Merry Christmas and Happy New Year video that will go up later on this evening, I think, Paul, you said?
Well, technically it'll be up one day before this goes up.
Yeah, that.
But yeah, check that out. Don't forget to obviously go on and subscribe to FoxintheboxFM. You will find the little fox sat in a box, so you know you've got to the right person. I've just got his message now, so I assume he did find us. But yeah, thanks for joining us, pal. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. You're a great website. Definitely the first guys that I think coming into this community, as I said quite earlier on. I didn't know that existed a FIFA. What an idiot! I didn't know there existed a Football Manager community. I had a conversation with another YouTuber recently, and he was quite shocked that, though being involved with Football Manager for nearly 16 years, that I'd never once experienced the community. So yeah, meeting guys that are like-minded and talk about this game is definitely a good thing. And you kind of, as a central point, you bring a lot of us together. So thank you for what you do as well.
Oh, you're making us blush.
We're doing well, Paul. We're doing well.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Thanks for Ryan again, as always, coming on. And we will see you all next week.